Hello everyone, welcome to this new video on Red, the channel with the R. Today we're talking about sport bikes, because for all the enthusiasts wondering what will happen to modern homologated superbikes, increasingly restricted by regulations, Ducati answers with the new Panigale V4 S 2025, fresh news from today. The bike, presented just a few hours ago and displayed at WDW, the colossal festival dedicated to fans of the Borgo Panigale brand, but not only to them, makes a strong and precise statement saying, "We are still here." So even though we haven't finished testing all the new features of 2024, Ducati is already projecting us straight into 2025. By the way, have you subscribed to the channel? Are you following us on our social media? Do it so you don't miss any of our content. The new Panigale V4 is truly all new. Ducati has completely overhauled the project, turning it inside out, but has kept the 1103cc V4 Desmo 16 street engine as the cornerstone. Despite the new Euro 5 Plus homologation, it maintains the same torque values of 12.3 kgm and power of 216 GP, which are unchanged from the previous model with just half a horsepower more. Internally, a few things have changed, such as the camshafts and many other details that come from the Panigale V4R or the Superleggera. The range of action of the intake trumpets also changes. They are now 10 mm shorter when in the low position and 5 mm longer for a total of 80 mm when in the high position. In track configuration with the Ducati Performance by Akrapovic exhaust, the power goes up to 228 GP. But the goal of the new Panigale V4 S 2025 is not just to go faster, but to make everyone go faster and more easily. The thing I find most interesting is definitely the change in engineering approach applied to aerodynamics, which has now become an integral part of the design. So there is no longer an aerodynamic package slapped on, applied to a design that was already complete, as happened with the previous Panigale, a model that, as we know, has effectively ushered the world of production motorcycles towards advanced aerodynamics. But on the new fairing of the Panigale V4 S 2025, the air profiles, which are painted in the same color as the fairing, are perfectly integrated without any discontinuity. The result? A fairing that has 4% less drag and significantly improves rider protection, all while maintaining the same downforce as the previous wings, and more. Notice this, following the trend of current MotoGP bikes, the leading edge of the fairing is set back from the front wheel. We don't reach the extremes of MotoGP, which we can say are anything but beautiful bikes, but here we are aiming for maximum riding efficiency. This solution, now approved, improves agility by effectively compensating for the increased heaviness of handling caused by the wings. The ergonomics have been completely redesigned as well, with a new seat tank unit that improves freedom of movement and enhances longitudinal comfort. Ducati also promises better braking support, which is good because that was definitely a weak point of the previous version. And if you can hold better during braking, in the end, you also get less tired while riding on the track. To conclude, the foot pegs are 10 mm more inward compared to the current bike, so there's even more ground clearance. And now let's move on to the chassis, which will surely make some people sad, as the Panigale V4 is also saying goodbye to the single-sided swing arm to mount a traditional swing arm, although very, very light. Well guys, there's no doubt that aesthetically the single-sided swing arm can't be beaten. However, in the quest for the best possible performance, especially since in Superbike the others aren't just sitting around, the double-sided swing arm is the more correct choice, at least from an engineering standpoint. Especially since the new Ducati swing arm weighs a full 2.7 kilograms less than the single-sided swing arm, a solution that is notoriously heavier and placed in the critical area of unsprung masses. It offers lower lateral stiffness. Note, I didn't say torsional, but lateral stiffness, which allows for better cornering and a greater riding feel. I know it will spark debate, but let me ask you a question. Try asking a real rider or one of the professionals what they prefer between a single-sided swing arm and a regular swing arm. Oh, one last detail. The bike weighs 187 kilograms with all fluids except for gasoline, 2 kilograms less than the previous model. The front frame has also been revised and is now lighter, 3.47 kilograms compared to the previous 4.2, and has been retuned in terms of stiffness compared to the previous model. As a result, it's easy to say that the chassis is essentially all new, aiming to offer more confidence when leaning and to be more effective when it comes to hitting the apex and entering corners. Completing the chassis, of course, are the suspension and brakes, and here too, there's some good stuff. We've already seen them on the new Honda CBR 1000 RRR, so naturally they had to debut on the Panigale as well. I'm talking about the third generation electronically controlled Öhlins NPX TTX with faster activation valves and a greater range of adjustment compared to the previous suspensions. And if we talk about brakes, well then we're talking about Brembo, which debuts the new high pure calipers on the new Panigale, lighter and better at dissipating heat. A definitely interesting topic in my opinion is the race and eCBS system, which was developed by Bosch together with Ducati. How does it work? Well, it's an integrated braking system but with racing features. So it's dedicated to the track, making the most of the rear brake. To be clear, when you lean the bike into a turn and release the front brake, The eCBS system continues to apply residual braking on the rear to help you complete the curve. What MotoGP riders do with their thumb-operated rear brake lever is now done automatically by this system. Rounding out the picture is the electronics, which were already top-notch and now boast yet another new acronym. This time we're talking about the Ducati Vehicle Observer, a system developed by Ducati Course that simulates the input of over 70 sensors, measures ground forces, and works alongside the IMU inertial platform to manage controls even more precisely. Everything is managed by a new 6.9-inch dashboard, much more readable than before, and with specific screens for street or racing use. But maybe we can tell you something more, because Marco is there on the spot and he's looking at the bike live right now, and we're among the very first to do so. Marco, how does the bike look in person? Hi Stefano, we are here directly from the terrace overlooking the Misano Adriatico circuit, the Marco Simoncelli World Circuit, because now the Panigale you have been talking about is finally available. To delve a bit into the first indications you gave us, yes, I confirm that the bike is indeed particularly streamlined. The winglets are very highly noticeable, seamlessly well integrated with the bike's fairing, and what really stands out particularly, especially at first glance initially, is the increased greater distance between the front wheel and the bike's fairing, actually. Very, very similar to a MotoGP fairing, thus definitely even more aligned with the purist racing philosophy. Observing it very closely, I have to commend the Ducati team for their ability to integrate the large exhaust very well, which is obviously a very difficult issue to manage for racing bikes. It's placed low, well integrated and compact. And I must say, in all honesty, my first impression of the double-sided swing arm, as you can see in detail, is much better than I expected. It's obvious that the traditional single-sided swing arm, which has been a part of history since the 916, will be missed by enthusiasts, especially now that we're on the 7th generation of the Panigale world. However, this double-sided swing arm is very, very well integrated with the rest of the bike. V4 Standard and V4 S, but the most interesting thing is the possibility to equip the new Panigale with tires directly derived from the World Superbike, so the front wheel can be fitted with a 125/70ths and the rear with a 265ths with a very high sidewall. This can be done simply by dressing the bike, no problem, because the ECU will self-adapt, so all the mappings can be used on the track with World Superbike tires. Over to you, Stefano. Is there anything in particular that you find interesting? A little treat for those who love adjustments, check out the adjuster for setting the height of the brake lever on the right side. It's a small ring that allows you to raise and lower it with a very simple movement, finally making one of the most important controls when riding on the track. Well, I think we've told you everything there is to know about the new Ducati Panigale V4 S 2025. Now it's your turn. Leave your comments below and let us know what you think. I'll be waiting for you down here. We'll see you in the next video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel in the comments below. Bye.